Welcome back to another episode of my MotoGP 24 career mode. Today, we are in the season test of Jerez, and we need to find some speed. So there's two things I'm looking to improve here with the Repsol Honda. Aerodynamic penetration and electronics development. I think those two together could help us a lot better with struggling with the wheelie upon acceleration. So we're going to turn it round in the test here today. So this is what they've come up with then, the two bike options for us. Package A has got a little bit more uncontrolled fuel delivery, much better handling and much better aerodynamic penetration, so I'll be putting those to the test in just a moment's time. But let's now take a look at Spec B. What does Spec B give us? Interesting, more engine power, a little bit better on the controlled fuel delivery side, and a slight adjustment to aerodynamic load and electronics development. Don't know how well that's going to work, but I'm definitely going to try both of them and see exactly what is going to happen. So here we go then, on track for the first time here today. Back on Jerez as well, of course. Don't forget we were here just a few days ago. If you're not all caught up with my MotoGP career mode series, I would highly recommend you check out that Jerez Grand Prix. It was very interesting, and it was some of the best intense battles I've had this season, so I implore you to check it out. And we also had the save of the year. It was, you know what, just go and watch it. You'll enjoy it, I assure you. And for those who did watch it, thank you for returning back. Let's do the winter test, or Jerez test together, should I say. So then, plan of attack. We're looking for a few things here today. We have been struggling quite a bit with the acceleration out of the corners with the Honda, and then of course the most difficult part is balancing that wheelie. Really struggling to get the bike to stay down when applying the ride height device, and even when not applying the ride height device. Using the rear brake to slow us down on the straight, to bring the front wheel down, just slows us down, and we're not quite getting that little bit thing, that little thing sorted, you know what I mean? So today that is my focus, and that is exactly why I wanted to focus more on the electronics development and the aerodynamics of the bike, rather than looking for more engine power, more speed and everything else. I think the rest of it will come once we get these little bits ironed out. Now, I don't use any setups here in MotoGP 24 and never have done. Maybe I will start using them at some point, but for now I'm going to leave everything as is. It's going to be simply default settings from now probably to the end of the season, unless we really start to struggle and I need a bit more help. But I want to focus today on two things. Consistency here in Jerez, because I don't think we were very good in that previous race. We got better towards the end, but too late. And I'm also looking to see how we can control the bike. So consistency and comfortability. We need to be comfortable. Every single race so far I've done, I've been on the ragged edge. I've made a lot of mistakes. Track limit warnings have occurred, incident warnings, bumps and battering. I'm trying to move away from that and focus on being a little bit more smoother with the Honda. I am quite aware that the Honda has its difficulties, and riding it like Marc Marquez is the way to go, even here in MotoGP 24. So the aggression, the seriousness, the determination like no other to keep on pushing is what I'm referring to when riding like Marc Marquez. There's no bike that can just do it for you. You've got to really do it yourself. So that is exactly what I'm looking for here today. I'm going to focus on Spec A for quite a few laps, and then we'll move across to Spec B. But what we're looking at here today is Spec A. This already feels better than it did before we started this test. When I was in the first couple of races, the handling was okay, but the handling was actually at 0. So this is the first time we've actually improved the handling, and it does feel a little bit better. I'm able to chuck it into the corners a little bit easier, with a bit more precision, a bit more confidence. So far so good. I don't know how that has helped with the aerodynamics. Maybe they've made the winglets lighter, or the aero is a little bit shorter. I know it doesn't really do that in the game, but they've clearly fixed something, because it does feel a little bit better. And across the line, we are about to go across it now, and when we have done, it's a 35.8. So that was similar to my best lap in Jerez, which I think was a 35.4, which we set during the featured race in Jerez a few days ago. But if we're able to do it on the second lap, bit of clear air, not too bad. Down by a second, though, to Maverick Vinales. Those 34s that Vinales is doing right now, and possibly Bastianini as well, are likely to elude me today. I don't feel I've got enough to get into 134s. Possibly with a bike that's fully upgraded I could, but right now with the Repsol Honda I just don't think we can. So I'm not going to be stressing out too much when it comes to looking at lap times and looking at differences to the riders ahead of us. I just want to focus on being clear, consistent and concise. And so far I'm seeing that we're going to get, if I stay like this, we are going to stay within the 35s, which is what I'm looking for. But I am really curious to see how Spec B gets on. So I'm going to absolutely nail it with Spec A now, really get the feeling for it, and then we'll jump across to Spec B. And of course, guys, if you're doing your winter test, I want to know, what packages have you been going for so far? Have you been thinking the same way as I've been thinking? Trying to improve the bike on all areas rather than just being a glass cannon by going just ultimate speed? Or are you on the other side? Let me know in the comment section down below. In MotoGP 23, it was probably 90% choosing Spec B. It was always the better bike. But I'm really curious if that's what's going to happen here today in the Premier class of MotoGP 24. Now, regarding the aerodynamic penetration, the aerodynamic load, we should feel a bit more benefit when we're trying to use the ride height device, trying to get the slipstream. Hopefully we should have a bit of a boost going forward. And I have done a lot of trailing in these races so far. I've done a lot of being the hunter rather than the hunted. In the occasion we have been the hunted, which was of course the sprint race in Kota, and of course the featured race in Qatar when we actually won. We did lead comfortably, and stopping them from attacking us by just braking a little bit more defensively. But if we can try and be that hunter a little bit more and make it work, then we could have more podiums and fight for a better championship aspiration. Lots of, wide there. Now don't forget, you do actually get away with track limits in winter testing and testing in general. I don't know why that is. I don't know if just Milestone forgot to do it, or I guess it doesn't really matter, because the only person you're impacting is yourself. So if you're running off the circuit and finding up maybe like a 2-second advantage, then you're only lying to yourself. So maybe that's why the track limits aren't strict when it comes to the winter tests. So back into 36 again. I've actually gone backwards here. A few little mistakes on that previous lap, but we're still struggling to keep the front end of the Honda down. Look at us going into this corner before the Michelin corner. The front end is still up in the air. We're still bouncing it around. I've got to try and reduce that as much as possible. Do you feel a little bit more drive coming out of the third corner, then which leads us into turn 4 and then into Sito Ponds? It does feel a little bit better around that part of the section of track. Now, electronic-wise, I'm still keeping everything the same. I do know a few players tend to run different power options in the Premier class, and also different traction control to me. I know some people are using traction control 1, but honestly I found a really good balance with 2. I think 2 works out really well. But at the same time, I don't want to find anything that's going to make this championship really easy, because the one thing I wanted in the Premier class was to have a challenge. I don't want to be winning every single race. I know it sounds bizarre, but I've done so many seasons in MotoGP games, and there's so many seasons we've just dominated. I love a challenge. Oh, wide again. That's another small mistake. But I love a challenge, and I'm right up for it to continue challenging right to the very end. So let's hope that's what we continue to get this season, regardless of the upgrades we're about to receive or have received in this test here today. So a clever bit of editing, and continuing with Spec A we go. So I won't lie to you, I actually forgot to change over to Spec B here. I jumped onto Spec A by accident again, and then I thought, well, I'm already on the track, I might as well continue. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to continue with Spec A, because I don't feel we should be finished with Spec A yet. Those lap times have been average. They're alright, but they're not different from what we've been doing so far in the Jerez race. and we need to find a little bit more. So I'm going to really exhaust Spec A before moving over to the second spec, because to be honest with you, I have a sneaky suspicion that Spec B will also be really, really solid. I had a message on Instagram recently and they were saying that Spec B, again, like MotoGP 23, is the significant bike. No matter what it gives you, it just feels a little bit better. I don't know if it's purely placebo, which it definitely could be, but there's a certain element that makes you consider that it's a better package bike, regardless of what Spec A says. I don't know why that is, but it just feels that way at the very least. So I'm going to exhaust it with Spec A. 10 laps, maybe something similar to that, and then we'll move across to Spec B. Again, off the circuit there, going into the Ferrari corner. But now onto the brakes. Can we get back into the 135s? I wouldn't imagine we're going to do so when we go so wide and then bring the ride height device on too early. We haven't improved from Jerez. This is not looking so promising. So compared to the first lap, we're pretty much where we started. So that's not a bad starting point, actually, because I've just started with Spec A again. And we did make 2 big mistakes in that previous lap. We can definitely find more time. My goal would be, if we were concerned about lap times, around the top 5. I feel a little bit better about that. And as long as we can get quick in a couple of sectors, because what we were doing in the featured race here in Jerez, we were finding spots where we... caught on the curb. We were finding spots that we were significantly quicker than the AI and trying to take advantage, which I tend to do a lot. Because the AI does have its weaknesses in quite a lot of tracks. Some tracks are just absolutely abysmal, and the entire track is their weakness. But here, I feel we're about even. Only Sector 1 I would say I can get good times back on the AI, but the rest of the circuit, probably from Sector 3 to 4, I'd give the edge to the AI on this instance. And if you were wondering what AI difficulty we're running, it is still 120%, which is the maximum of MotoGP 24. And I know what you're thinking, wow, that sounds amazing. But to be honest, I would really appreciate if they would be a little bit more challenging sometimes, because there will be some races this season which will dominate. I guarantee it. I don't really know which ones yet, but I know it'll happen. Cross the line there, not a bad lap time there. Back into the 35s again. Just noticed as we were going into that final sector how much time we were able to pull back from the mistake earlier. Only a 1/10 of a second down into the first split. I'll try and avoid the wheelie here. I do like that actually though, going into turn 3. You get a slight lift and you turn in at the same time. So the ride is effectively full lean angle to the left as the bike is wheeling and going straight. It looks phenomenal. Makes for some great screenshots, ladies and gentlemen. And out of the right-hander then. Ride height device without touching the curb this time. A bit later on the brakes than I have been doing. Ooh, just a little bit too eager on the rear brake. I am quite heavy on the rear brake. I know we've had some questions regarding a video of when to use that secondary brake, so I will be doing a video on that at some point. Just trying to fit in a lot of video ideas as always, guys and girls, so bear with me. Of course, career mode taking priority at the minute because we're all very much enjoying this career mode now. I think we could find more time here. It is finally clicked with this Repsol Honda. After a full sprint, a full race. And now here, 7-8 laps into the testing, I'm actually getting a little bit hard on the brakes now, and it does seem to be paying off. This will be an improvement for the first time since lap 2 across the line. It is an improvement. We stay in 9th. Well, we moved. We did move ahead of Pecco Bagnaia, I think. But most importantly, we did improve the lap time by around 60,000 of a second, 61,000 of a second. We improved by. So 2 or 3 laps to go. Then let's give it at least 2. Let's finish on the 10th lap. Then move across to Spec B. I should probably stop doing that, downshifting to second gear there. I'm unsure of what works better. I need to time my downshift a little bit better, and I also need to time the ride height device ever so slightly. So might not improve now. Much better compared to the previous lap. Let's see what the difference is now coming out of the Pedrosa corner. We've got 2 tenths in our back pocket, 10th and a half. It's slipping away somewhat. Oh, well, it's gone. We had a good advantage coming out of there a moment ago. Still quite there. You see the delta in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Now it's gone grey. It means obviously we're losing time. And when it goes green, it means we're finding time. So we are neck and neck. We are very close to just consistently staying in the 35s, which is something we haven't been able to do at all. We've never been able to stay in the 35s off the track again. A bit wide there for Lorenzo. Oh, goodness me. Tremendously wide. We bring on the power. Short shift into third. Did help a little bit with the wheelie. And across the line, we do drop back into the 36s again. That's a little bit disappointing, that. I really felt I could find something here today. It's not over yet. It's definitely not over yet. But Spec A will be put on the shelf in a moment. And it's time for us to go gung-ho with the second of the 2 specs. Oh my goodness, good start. This is a really good lap time coming in here. Yes, better on the downshift to second. Had to think about it for a second though. Power on, upshift, ride height device when the bike's straight. Oh. Yes, we might find more time. It is feeling comfortable. I went wide. I did go wide quite a bit into the Pedrosa corner in the race the other day. Brakes not quite up to scratch. Now I haven't changed the brake disc. I'm still running the 13-inch extreme cooling, which is pretty much the default brake disc. I don't ever change the brake disc in this game. The only brake disc I do change, which I've mentioned many times before, but I'll mention it again just in case you're a new viewer. Rear brake. Reduce that to its smallest component. That helps a lot here in MotoGP, especially for my kind of style when it comes to braking. Now, it just occurred to me this is the 10th lap, and it doesn't look like we're going to improve, so you know what? Let's do another cheeky lap then. Let's do a little cheeky one in. A little extra lap. Lap 11. Let's get one more in. Ooh, this could actually be another 135. Ah, it's not. Not bad consistency though. Those 4 lap times there, all within a 10th of a second. Not bad. Not too bad. Less than 2/10 of a second. That's alright. Oh, look at the wheelie again. It's not good that we're doing that. It would be much better if we could keep the bike flat and turn. But it does look so good. Now onto the right-hander. Downshifted too early. That's too eager on the downshift, that. If you're wondering why the bike kicks out, it's because I'm dropping from 4th to 3rd and then too quickly to 2nd. It's something I'm aware of doing. It's just a habit of doing it. That's good. That's not bad into the Pedrosa corner. It does work out better to go really tight to the apex and basically just run it across the curb. Bits like we've done there for 7. And a bit like what we're going to do almost here for the Martinez Aspar corner. Look how tight we go. Ooh. Went sideways then. And here's a prime example as well. Nieto corner, run it a little bit wide. Hit the curb and then go tight. Really tight here to 10 for Pelliqui. And the next part here, this is Crivier, got to be careful there. Of course, this is where we had that monstrous save. Fighting Fabio Di Gianantonio in the sprint race. Ooh, bit wide, no. Well, Spec A will not end in a positive note. So, back onto, or at least onto Spec B now for the very first time. Right, what we're looking for now with this bike is its engine power. Doing all power and pretty much a little bit of aerodynamic load, I don't know whether that's actually going to work out too well. But the one thing Spec B has done, it has improved the electronics development, meaning our TCS and anti-wheelie should, in theory, work a little bit more effective. Oh, went wide there. I did that exact same mistake earlier, didn't I? So this lap time is not going to be a good one. We got caught in that curb. But we're also needing to know now, how well does the traction control work? Can we stop the wheelies? Can we stop everything else that's going wrong with the Honda. I will confess, that engine power does feel pretty nippy. I feel like I've got a bit better acceleration out of the corners now. And I don't think I'm compromising spinning up the rear. That was tremendously tight to Peloquis. Yeah, the front wheel is still lifting quite a lot though. Well, this is the first lap. And bear in mind, we have done 11 laps with Spec A. So it's probably a little bit in the favour of Spec B. A bit wide, that. Okay, first lap time is probably not going to be near the 135s. It should be a 36.1 perhaps across the line. It's a 36.09. That's pretty good for the first lap time. But I'm not finding anything yet. It's hard to say actually. This bike does feel tremendously similar. Managed to avoid the wheelie there perhaps. Oh, a bit wide. That has cost me time. But we did avoid the wheelie going into 3 and 4. From the Michelin corner to 3 and then into 4, we avoided the wheelie. How well does the ride height device work? It's difficult to say. Definitely felt the same as it did with Spec A. Bit wide there, but should be alright. Take a drink every time we say spec in this video. Yeah, we're finding time here. Early on the brakes, bring it in tight to the Martinez Aspar corner. Let the corner bring you round. Ooh, I didn't like that. That felt a bit uncomfortable, but I think that worked. It did actually. That felt really strange to hit the brakes that hard in that corner. I'm not a hard braker, I'm quite gentle to be honest. So going really aggressive on the brakes doesn't really suit my confidence. Something I'll definitely get used to. Oh, wide. Oh, wow. How wide? I need tickets to get back into the circuit. How wide do you want to be? Goodness me. Cross the line then. It was actually a 35. Shows how good that lap time would have been if we hadn't made that mistake. Well, Spec B's working out alright so far. Curious to see how this feels again. Do we avoid the wheelie? We do avoid it ever so slightly again. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not changing anything. Everything is exactly the same apart from the bike. I've got a good feeling about this one. And I can't tell whether it's the additional engine power or we were much better with the ride height device then. I think that little boost electronics development is working out. Either that or it's pure placebo and I'm just confident with the bike. And I'm not looking here just at the lap time. I must reiterate that. The lap time is good and it is filling me with confidence, but the bike feels pretty good. And the bike feels more closer to what I've been using, but with a bit more speed. The handling on the other bike, although improved, felt more or less the same, as I just completely butchered that corner. So this lap time, although it might be a faster one, it will have a blip. That we did take the mick going into Peloquis a moment ago. So hard on the brakes again. That's good. That's good. Oh, and the ride height device felt much better there. I still brought it on a little bit too early. But across the line, that is our fastest lap time of the day. And that puts us in third. But scary, goodness me, scarily enough though, we are still 7 tenths behind Maverick Vinales. 6 tenths behind his compatriot and Prama teammate, Jorge Martin. So, we're not going to get any better than that, but bloody hell, third place. Repsol Honda. Just take the bow. Just take a bow already. We've done a good job here. No sign of Pecco though, so he's probably gearing up for a 1:33 lap time. Something ridiculous, no doubt. Well, I've got to say, I don't know whether it's just that we've done 11 laps with Spec A, but coming to this bike feels like a warm embrace. I'm not pushing any harder than I was with the other bike, but the lap times are better. This is a great sign. I think Spec B might have just stolen our hearts here, ladies and gentlemen. Just 3 laps in, it feels really good. I'm not struggling with that wheelie, although I am wheeling a bit. I think it looks worse for you guys. It doesn't feel that bad. I still feel very much in control. I'm trying to get a bit confident now. I'm actually trying to brake a little bit more on the side of the tyre, and I think that paid off. We're not going to find any time, but what we will do is still stay quicker than that Spec A lap time. 2 laps in a row. Oh, I've gone wide. I got a little bit distracted then. I started looking at the right-hand side of the screen to work out if what I was saying was correct then. It's a little bit too soft for the brakes. Right then, onto the power again then. Keep it in tight. This is turn 4. Power on. We're not going to improve on this one. But it's really not the end of the world. Now, I think with these bikes, pretty much everything was the same regarding the tyre wear and fuel consumption. So, to be honest, fuel doesn't really matter in this game. Well, it doesn't matter in this game, that's it. Which is a shame, really. I remember being extremely critical about that when this game was... Milestone announced that they wouldn't be concerned with fuel. No matter what fuel setting you chose, you would never run out of fuel. I think that was a big disappointment. Although you still run out of fuel online in certain tracks, it's completely bugged. But for the tyre wear consumption, again, not really bothered because you can just run the soft option tyres all the time and you'll never struggle. Or at least I never have. And our Ace Academy riders, when we were doing the championships, also only used soft option tyres. If they were available, they went softs. I think the only track they couldn't use the soft option rear was the medium in Brunel. And I absolutely nailed that corner then. And that felt incredibly satisfying to get it sliding on the side of the tyre across the line. It is a tertiary lap time. No, 4th lap time in a row in the 135s. I think Spec B has found its way into the Premier Class of MotoGP. Now, I choose the option here for both myself and Marco Bezzecchi, I believe, if that's how it works in this game. Or at least I influence the decision of the bike. I hope Marco Bezzecchi was happy with what I chose. And I hope Taka and Johan Zarco were also happy with what I've chosen. Maybe Stefan Bradl's been working on Spec B all this time. He's been pushing for this. Of course, Aleix Espargaro's still in my game at the moment, but if he does get replaced, and I guess that's where he's going, to be our Repsol Honda test rider. Had a thought the other day actually regarding Taka Nakagami's retirement. Would be kind of cool to see him in World Superbike once or twice as well. Just appear anywhere you want, Taka. Come to BSB as well. You dominate. Taka, the GOAT. Anyway, enough about Taka. Got business to deal with here. Ooh, a bit wide. So far, so good. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, by the way. Of course, it's been... Oh, I'm off the track again. Of course, it's been a little bit different to the actual racing. Of course, not quite as intense. I have lost my voice anyway because I've got a bit of a cold at the moment. And of course, doing the commentary in the other video the other day was also quite exhausting. How the hell have we just found time? How? What? I've gone wide now, but how did I find time there? Oh, I kind of abused it into the middle section, didn't I? Towards the end. Yeah, I guess that lap time doesn't really count, but... Oh, I'm making all sorts of mistakes now. How many long lap penalties would that be? Track limits galore. Got to try and improve on that. The difficulty of trying to battle on the edge of the bike, on the ragged edge, commentating everything. It is easy to make a few mistakes and run off the track a few times. And sometimes you get given warnings and penalties for not doing anything wrong, really. Sometimes a rider might bump you and the MotoGP stewards will give you a warning. I've had that happen once or twice before. There is the Martinez Aspar corner. Keep it into the left-hand side. Power on. Hit the brakes. Ooh, again. Quite firm on the anchors into turn 9. 139.5, 35.5 should I say, compared to the 35.8 of Spec A. But the pure consistency, the feeling of control, Spec B has won it for me. I would really like to... I've gone wide. Really wide. Can I keep away from the Lorenzo corner? We have. We kept it in the Lorenzo corner, but we managed to... Oh, God. The curbs when you use the ride height device are absolutely lethal. I think we're going to lose time on this one already due to the nature of the speed we had going into turn 1. But now into the Michelin corner. We've got Alex Rins. Is that his Yamaha teammate Fabio Quartararo? I think it could very well be. Let's see if I can catch up to them now. I've got a reference point here. I like a reference point. I do like a good toe. I think everyone does. As we go on the power, might be able to use them as a reference for the braking points to close in a bit. The only thing is, so if I meet them towards Ferrari, Pelliqui, Crivier, or the Lorenzo corner, I could probably lose my lap time. So this might be a little bit more challenging than I'm expecting, but look at the speed we're catching up to the two Japanese motorcycles ahead of us. Yeah, they are going to hold us up here, but I am fixated onto the back of Alex Rins now. Tell you what, it looks great in that testing livery though. It looks absolutely awesome in this game. Milestone nailed those testing liveries. Here we go. We're finding time. I'm a bit too fixated there. Onto the brakes. So... Oh, nice wide sweeping line. I'm on the Yamaha apparently. I'm doing the sweeping line and they were going for the V-shaped line. Cross the line. We do improve. Nice. All I needed was the two Yamahas ahead of me. But this is where it's going to get scary now because I cannot get through. Come on, Alex. Move out of the way, sunshine. Oh, he's holding me up. My last lap is going to be a disaster, isn't it? Maybe we go for one more. Because I'm not going to be able to improve now. Wow, his Yamaha sounds weird. It's doing that weird audio glitch again like it did in the other test. So strange, that audio sound. Oh, I might be a little bit late on the brakes here. Excuse me, Alex. Oh... Really wide. Ah, we made it stick. Okay. I didn't think that would work, but it did. Who's that ahead of us? Oh, it's Alex Marquez. That's also a really nice testing livery. Here we go. Fabio's going to get past here. Well, not here exactly, but soon. Oh, in fact, here he goes. Can I? Nope. I've lost tremendous amount of time here, Fabio. I'm losing 0.6 of a second just by sitting on the back of that YZR M1. Come on, son, move. Do we go full send? Yes! Oh, God. Oh, I didn't think I was going to get stopped. We did. Okay, then. One more, then, for the road, ladies and gentlemen. We can't end it on that. Of course, my 35s have gone to the abyss. So let's do it. Hey, Pecco Bagnaia is only in 6th. We're not looking too bad here. Spec B is definitely the one for me. Ran me accidentally. There's not much left for that tyre now as well, so I'm probably gonna have to finish it there anyway. But one more lap before we go. Let's give it our best shot. Down by 0.2 in the first split. Bear in mind, we don't have much tyre life left, but we can still do a good lap. Let's give it everything. Enea Bastianini's on 2 personal bests. Just lost a bit of time in the third split. As we go on to the brakes, keep it in tight, a bit wide. 0.4, 0.3. Yeah, I'm probably not going to improve here, but I've learnt a lot here today, and I hope I've been able to explain a few things to you about what I'm feeling and what I was looking for in the bike, and exactly how it is that I'm determining what works for me and what doesn't. It's all about that feeling, that sense of, can I battle it out with a bike like this? If push came to shove, can I defend, can I fight, and can I still do things on the track with this bike? If the answer is no, then it's not the right choice for you. And if the answer is yes, you found your bike. So guys, into the final corner. Power on, bit of a mess there, bit of a wheelie as well there for the aces. Let's take a look at the breakdown of the lap times. So there it is then, all of my lap times on screen right now. I'll slowly bring the mouse cursor down. My analog stick's not working for some strange reason all of a sudden. And as you can see, we were very consistent to the point that not one lap time had all of the best sector times. There is Spec A's best sector. Sector 2, a 14.5. I imagine it's going to be very close for Spec B already, but you can see Spec B was clearly superior in the other 3 sectors. Spec B is definitely the bike to choose, and here is Spec B. So we're still very close in that Sector 2. There's nothing really miles away from the personal best, but our ideal lap time would have been a 35.2 if we combined both of those motorcycles. That is interesting. But guys, that is it from me. Thank you very much for watching the video. I think it's quite evident that I'm choosing Spec B, so I'll see you in the next round of Le Mans. Ciao for now, ladies and gentlemen. Like and subscribe. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.